All right, we're on to a new topic now, and this topic is on the concept of a market cycle. Now, market cycles is a non-negotiable topic of understanding for you to be a profitable investor. It is also a sort of a foundational topic, something that's a bit simpler to understand, and it's personally probably my most favorite topic. I find this one really, really interesting. So I think to start off the topic of market cycles, we need to look into why market cycles happen. And the reason that we have a market cycle, which is a repeating sort of occurrence of events, like you see in this photo right here, the reason that we have hope to optimism, to belief, to thrill, to euphoria, to complacency, to denial, capitulation, anger, depression, the reason we have this market cycle, this repeating series of events every 4 years in crypto and typically 10 years in the stock market. The reason we have this is because all humans have the same flaws. Me, you watching this video, the kids from Africa with no food, the billionaires who run the world, we all have the same flaws. We all have the same base level programming. And it is this base level programming which dictates how we invest, at least most of us. Because most of us cannot make decisions independent of our instinctual, evolutionary sort of biases. We just do as our basically baseline instincts tell us to do. When you feel anger, you punch that guy. When you hear a new opinion, you don't listen to it because you already have built an initial opinion, right? That's one example of a cognitive bias. It is taking the first piece of information as being more likely to be correct than the next pieces of information. It's a cognitive bias. Most people don't even recognize it. So this is why when people form a personal belief, it's very hard for them to change it. They think crypto is a scam. That's the first impression they got of it. Now it's forever a scam. They can't change that belief, right? So all humans have the same flaws, and this is why markets have the same cycle all the time. So the reasons, let's talk about this in a bit more depth. The reason that markets are cyclical in nature is because the forces which drive price movements are humans. Humans go to the market and we decide to buy and sell. There's no one else buying and selling besides humans and robots. There's no animals, there's no aliens. It's just humans and robots. And the robots are coded with the same bias that humans tend to have. So yeah, robots are objective, but it's coded by a human. So it has the influence of human bias. Every single human is born with a pre-downloaded software of instinctual behaviors, which we can never forget or remove from our day-to-day life. So you know when you buy like a new computer and you load it up and it makes the loading sound, whatever it is, and then you have all those apps that are just pre-installed? Well, imagine each app is a cognitive bias that we have, right? So we come pre-installed with confirmation bias app, right? We have a certain belief and we try to find information in our environment to confirm that belief. The reason we all have this bias is because there's a certain code downloaded into all of us when we're born that we can't get rid of. It's there forever. And, it's like a pre-downloaded software on a computer. So we feel fear in scary situations, right? That's a pre-downloaded sort of occurrence. We don't learn to feel fear. I think fear is just something that it's just an instinct. We feel happiness in good situations. We get territorial. We constantly aim for more, and we naturally want to be around people with the same beliefs as us. These are just natural human things that every human has. It's not a catalyst of your environment. It's purely just a catalyst of what you're born with. But more specifically, in terms of like the cognitive biases, we have a number of cognitive biases which were designed to help us originally, right? Back in the caveman days, we always like to refer to the caveman days. We had all these cognitive biases come about through the course of evolution, depending on if you believe in evolution or not. And back in the day, I'm sure these biases would have helped us. But in today's day and age, modern society, these biases do not help us in financial markets whatsoever. Because in financial markets, the game is zero sum, as we talked about in the mindset section. Meaning, if you make money, maybe I lost money, right? Someone lost money for you to make money. And so what it means is that if you want to take someone else's money, you have to be able to not do what they do. You have to be able to do the opposite. And if everyone is ingrained to do the same thing because they all have the same biases, all you need to do is ignore the cognitive biases. You're going to do the opposite of what everyone does, and you're going to end up making money, right? So the goal is you identify cognitive biases and you recognize them when you feel them for yourself, and you ignore them and you act against them. That's how you make money in markets, okay? Every human has all of these cognitive biases, and you can never remove them. They're always there. And this is why markets are cyclical. Humans throughout time all deal with the same issues. So the cycle repeats again and again and again, because the thing with markets is you have to learn 80% of the lessons through first-hand experience. So when you have kids, you can't just teach them all the shit that you said to not do in markets. They have to learn it firsthand. So every 80 years, we have a fresh group of investors, all who have no fucking clue what they're doing, having to figure out that, oh, I have to actually ignore my cognitive biases, right? Hundreds of years ago, even 100 years ago, they had books talking about how we need to do the opposite of the herd, right? Talking about ignoring the cognitive biases that we've been born with, right? They learnt the lesson then. They have kids. They try to teach their kids what to do. The kids have to learn from their first-hand experience, so they make the mistakes again, and it's just a repeating cycle. And this is why markets are cyclical, okay? Now, here is a list of a bunch of biases that humans have. These are not just financial market biases. These are just biases in general. And I want to go into a few of the important ones here, give you a definition and then an example, because I think it's important that we get specific. You always want sort of real exemplars. You want practical examples of the lesson so that you really learn it. So first one is confirmation bias. We sort of talked about it before. Confirmation bias is the tendency to interpret new information as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. So let's say, in an example, right, you are holding Ripple, right? Let's look at the Ripple chart. Ripple has basically done nothing for 2018, so for 5 years, basically done nothing, right? It's gone up a little bit, but it's ultimately basically where it was 5 years ago, right? So, and then keep in mind, inflation since 5 years ago is up like 40%, 30%. So you've actually basically, if it's 60 cents now, maybe you bought it at 30 cents back then, congratulations, you've barely outperformed inflation, and you're holding a risky asset. So let's say you've been bag holding XRP, right? And you're in a big loss. Let's say you bought it here, you're in a loss, like up here, or over here, right? And you don't want to sell the position at a loss. So what you do is you look at all the new information coming out about the coin. So let's say, oh, Ripple, they're going to win the SEC lawsuit. Look, this new thing came out saying that they're going to win, or Ripple just released this new technology, or, some bullshit like news update. And you use these updates as confirmation bias that the coin's going to make you money. But what you fail to recognize is if you didn't own the coin, you probably wouldn't have bought if you had heard this information. It's only information that confirms your bias because you are in a loss and you want to avoid the psychological pain of realizing a loss. So you're actually biased in your analysis of the new information because you wouldn't have cared about the information if you weren't holding the coin, right? Now let's talk about bandwagon effect. So bandwagon effect is basically herd mentality, right? We like to adopt the behaviors, styles, and attitudes of others. So if there's a certain fashion trend, we tend to just copy and wear the same shit, right? I'm no better. I do this as well. Like, for example, I'll see cool fashion on TikTok or something, and I'll literally just buy it. I'll be like, fuck, that looks cool. Because I see other people wearing it, people like it. I'm like, okay, I'm just basically bandwagon affecting fashion, right? And bandwagon effect applies in investing as well. So for example, on Twitter, there'll be a coin that everyone hates on, right? It dumps It goes down, it crashes, everyone's shitting on it, the coin sucks, blah, blah, blah. If you were to have bought the coin that everyone hated after it had crashed, you actually probably in 9 out of 10 circumstances would have outperformed all the other coins that the people who were shitting on that coin are currently holding. Isn't that a funny thing in markets? It's because the bandwagon effect, people don't like buying what other people hate on. But the thing in markets is the best time to buy is when no one wants to buy. So when everyone is hopping on the bandwagon saying, this coin is bad, don't buy it, you have the most asymmetric upside because this is the worst that it can ever get. You know, if everyone hates the coin, how many more people can hate the coin? How many more people can sell? You get to a point where there's no one left to hate, there's no one left to sell, there's no more bad news to come. And the only possible circumstance after the worst has happened is for things to get better and thus price to go up, right? Like, price is crashing, people down here are saying, oh my God, it's going to die, it's dead. But the worst news has come out, the worst sentiment around the coin is out, and the only thing that can possibly happen from this point is better news to come out. And what happens when better news comes out? Well, the price goes up. So you end up outperforming because you're owning the position that is a consensus that it's not a good position. You're doing the opposite of the herd, right? So bandwagon effect. If you just copy what all your fucking Twitter accounts are saying. Now, in one of the other videos, I talk about Tau. Let's use Unibot as an example, actually. Let's use Unibot as an example. So actually, no, I have a better example. Hytopia. This is a really good example. How do I find this one? Hytopia. So there was a coin that I found. It's a gaming coin. And where is it? Basically, they had a big update like last week. And it was a bad update. And everyone in the comments was like hating on this coin. Where's this update? Which one is it? This one. So if you go to the comments, right? Okay, so when was this post done? The 16th of November. Okay, this is the 16th of November here, right? At the exact bottom, before a 2x pump, they put out this, right? So the price crashed because of this news thread. And if you go to the comments, we can see the sentiment behind this coin, right? Thanks for the explanation. I remain concerned, but I'm still behind the project and wait to see how it shakes out. I can't believe the volume of panic selling going on in the last 24 hours. So basically, they put the news update out, 24 hours of panic selling, people freaking out. Where is it gone? Here's the comments. They hid them. Here's the bad ones. You have completely lost me. I have been an original holder from Mint and stuck by you through the entire Microsoft issue. But now I know this project is doomed and have sold everything. Good luck to the remaining holders. Hope your delusion pays off. At some point, you have to stop doing stupid moves. First stupid move was to take the token from Polygon to ETH, while every other major Web3 game is doing the opposite. And now at the beginning of the bull run, you're doing this. What the fuck? Still a trash NFT scam server. Isn't a real game, just a Minecraft client. Don't give these losers your money. Now, you can see the sentiment in these comments is fucking terrible. And if you understood the concept of bandwagon effect, you would understand that the sentiment is near as bad as it can get. This might have been a buying opportunity. If you believe that the project was solid, accumulating when the most amount of people hate it, when the least amount of people are buying it, is the best opportunity because news can only get better. And you can see as the price went up because they brought out new news. They brought out some good news, right? They released an update with new lighting engine, improved frame rates, all this shit, right? And then they did an AMA. So basically the AMA, they were like, guys, don't panic, don't freak out, blah, 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 right? 24th of November here. And then it pumped, right? And then what else did they do? They did another update. Wow, look, one-click buying items in a game. Oh, it's bullish. Now the price is fucking retraced, and now it's going up again. So you can see that like this was the worst of the worst news. People thought the project died. And that is the best opportunity to enter, right? Bandwagon effect. Now, anchoring is another one. People rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive. So the first time you learn about something, you think you're correct because you found the information